Good morning students. This is second part of the sixth chapter Composition of Matter. Today we are going to study types of compound. So let us first try this experiment. Apparatus which we are going to use in this experiment are tripod stand, evaporating dish, burner, etc. And chemicals which we need are camphor, washing soda, blue vitriol, sugar, glucose and urea. Keep evaporating dish on the tripod stand and set up the apparatus as shown in the figure. Take some camphor in evaporating dish. Heat the camphor in the dish strongly with the help of a burner. You can use spoon also instead of evaporating dish. After heating the camphor, find out what remains behind in the spoon. When you bring camphor near the flame, it catches fire very quickly and it directly converts to gaseous state, leaving behind no residue. Residue is the material remain after evaporation. Repeat the same procedure using limestone. When limestone is heated, it evolves carbon dioxide gas, leaving behind white color residue. When crystals of washing soda are heated strongly, then all the water evaporates, leaving behind white color residue of sodium carbonate. When blue vitriol or copper sulfate is heated, it undergoes a physical change and we get white powder of anhydrous copper sulfate. When sugar is heated, it melts and after it turns brown, and at the last when all water get evaporate, it leaves behind black color residue. This black color residue is carbon. Glucose gives black color residue of carbon on heating. You saw in the above activity that on heating strongly, some compounds give residue while others do not give any residue or give a blackish residue. The black residue is mainly made of carbon. Moreover, when such compounds are strongly heated in air, combine with oxygen to form gaseous substances. In case their combustion is not complete, black colored carbon remain behind as residue. These compounds are called organic compounds or carbon compounds. Organic compounds are chemical compounds that contain carbon-hydrogen bonds. Organic compounds are obtained from living organisms. For example, material like carbohydrates, proteins, hydrocarbons like petrol, cooking gas, etc. are made of organic compounds. The camphor, sugar, glucose and urea used in the above activity are organic compounds. The compounds that decompose on strong heating to leave a residue behind are inorganic compounds. Common salt, soda, rust, blue vitriol, limestone are inorganic compounds. Inorganic compound is typically a chemical compound that lacks carbon-hydrogen bonds or a compound that is not an organic compound. The third type of compound is complex compound. Compounds that have complex ions are called as complex compounds. The molecules of compound have a complex structure formed by many atoms, and in the center of this structure, metal atoms are also included. Chlorophyll that contains magnesium, hemoglobin that contain iron, cyanocobalamin or vitamin B12 that contain cobalt are some examples of complex compounds. In this way, compounds are classified into three types: organic compound, inorganic compounds and complex compounds. Mixtures. Let us study which are the types of mixtures. Take little amount of sand and mix in water. Stir the mixture and observe it. What did you see? Sand will not completely mix in water and the components of the mixture will be distributed into two phases. The part of matter having uniform composition is called as phase. When the components of a mixture are distributed into two or more phases, it is called a heterogeneous mixture. Mixture of sand and water is an example of heterogeneous mixture. Now, add some crystals of blue vitriol in water. Stir it and observe. Blue vitriol will get completely mixed in water and you will see only one phase of the mixture. When all the components of a mixture form only one phase, it is called homogeneous mixture. Mixture of blue vitriol and water is an example of homogeneous mixture. Always remember, all the particles of a solid that stay together or are in a same container constitute a single phase. Example, a heap of stone. A liquid substance along with all the soluble substances dissolved in it together constitute a single phase. For example, seawater. A liquid or all its drops present together or in the same container constitute a single phase. For example, raindrops. The liquids present together or in the same container but not mixed with each other constitute separate phase. For example, mixture of oil and water. All the gases present together constitute a single phase. For example, air, which contains many types of gases. Add 10 gram of common salt in 100 ml of water and prepare salt solution in one beaker. Add 10 ml milk in 100 ml water in second beaker and prepare a solution of milk. Mix 10 gram of sawdust and 100 ml water in the third beaker. Place beakers properly and pass a laser beam through the beakers from the opposite side. Salt solution is transparent, hence light is completely passing through the salt solution and we can't see the path of light. The mixture of milk and water is translucent. It means when light is incident on the surface of this mixture, it is partly transmitted and partly scattered. This is because tiny particles of milk phase are dispersed evenly in water phase. We have seen that mixtures are classified as homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. A homogeneous mixture has uniform composition throughout the mixture. A homogeneous mixture is also called as solution. A solution is a mixture of two or more substances in a single phase. Substance in the largest amount is called solvent and the substance in the smallest amount is called solute. In the common salt solution, water is a solvent because it is present in the largest amount and salt is a solute because it is present in the smallest amount. The process of forming a solution by mixing solutes in a solvent is called dissolution. Homogeneous mixtures are classified into different types based on the solvent and solute, like liquid in liquid solution, solid in liquid solution and gas in liquid solution. Vinegar and dilute sulfuric acid are example of liquid in liquid solution. Air is an example of gas in gas solution. Solid in solid solutions are alloys like brass, steel and stainless steel. Chlorinated water and hydrochloric acid are examples of gas in liquid solution. In solution, if solvent is transparent, then the solution is also transparent and it passes through a filter paper. In vinegar, both solvent and solute are transparent. Hence, solution vinegar is transparent. The solutions such as salt dissolve in water, seawater, blue vitriol dissolve in water, sugar syrup are the type of solid in liquid solution. Heterogeneous mixtures are classified into two types, suspension and colloids. Heterogeneous mixture of the sawdust and water formed in the above activity is a mixture of liquid and solid. Heterogeneous mixture of a liquid and a solid is called a suspension. The diameter of solid particles in suspension is larger than 10 raised to minus 4 meter. Therefore, light cannot transmit through it. Moreover, these solid particles remain on an ordinary filter paper as residue and therefore the liquid and solid components of a suspension get separated by filtration. Heterogeneous mixture of milk and water formed in the above activity is an example of colloid. The diameter of colloidal particle is around 10 raised to minus 5 meter. Therefore, they cannot be separated by ordinary filter paper. Milk is itself a colloid. In it, the solid and liquid particles of protein, fat, etc. having a diameter around 10 raised to minus 5 meter are dispersed in the aqueous medium. Colloidal particles are very tiny that they cannot be seen through naked eyes. They can be seen through electron microscope. Apart from this, there are some more type of colloids such as solid in gas, for example smoke, liquid in gas, example fog, cloud, etc. Let us understand compounds. While studying matter, we have seen that element is a type of matter having the simplest composition. On inspection of the composition of the types compound and mixture, it is learned that they are formed from two or more units. Whether these units are separate or in a joint state decides whether the matter is compound or a mixture. Let us try this activity to study the formation of compounds and mixtures in detail. Take two evaporating dishes. Take 7 gram iron filings in the first dish and 4 gram sulfur in the second. Take a horseshoe magnet near the matter in both the dishes and observe. Transfer the entire iron fillings from the first dish to the second. Stir with the glass rod and observe by taking the horseshoe magnet near the matter. Also observe the color of the matter. Now heat the matter in the second dish and observe the color change in the matter. In the above activity, on testing the matter obtained by mixing iron filings and sulfur with horseshoe magnet, it was found that the resulting matter was a mixture of iron and sulfur and have properties of both the components. Some particles were yellow, they were of sulfur. Some particles were black, they were iron particles. The property of iron particles to get attracted to a magnet was unchanged. It shows that components iron and sulfur were in free state in that matter. On the contrary, when iron filings and sulfur were heated together, there was no effect of magnet and the characteristic yellow color of sulfur also disappeared. Mixture became black in color. From this, we understand that the matter formed in the above activity is different from the original composition. It means a chemical combination took place between iron and sulfur due to heating in the above activity. The atom of iron and sulfur became joined by chemical bond to form molecules of a new compound, means they undergo a chemical change. Molecular formula and valency. There is a definite proportion of the constituent elements in a compound. Certain number of the atoms of the constituent elements are joined to each other in a molecule. For example, if two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen will combine together, it will make one unit of water or one water molecule. And if 4 atoms of hydrogen will combine with 4 atoms of oxygen, then it will make 2 molecules of water and the 2 atoms of oxygen will be left. Certain number of the atoms of the constituent elements are joined to each other in a molecule of a compound. For example, in methane, its constituent elements are carbon and hydrogen. So here, 4 hydrogen atoms are bonded to one carbon atom forming a one molecule of methane. Molecular formula indicates the number of atoms of each of the constituent elements present in one molecule of a compound. Molecular formula of methane is CH4. Hence, it tells us that there is a one carbon atom and H4 means there are 4 hydrogen atoms. A molecular formula includes the information regarding the symbols of all the constituent elements and their respective number as subscript. Molecular formula of sulfuric acid is H2SO4. So from this molecular formula we come to know that the constituent elements of sulfuric acid are hydrogen, sulfur and oxygen. Also from the number written in subscript we come to know about the how many total number of atoms are present of each of the constituent elements. Meaning of molecular formula H2SO4 means 2 hydrogen atoms, 1 sulfur atom and 4 oxygen atoms. Molecular formula of some compounds are given in the following table. By using this, we have to fill the gap in the table. By using the given molecular formula, we have to write constituent element of that compound and also number of atoms of each of the constituent elements present in that particular compound. First one is already done. Let us start from the second. Second is hydrogen chloride. Its molecular formula is HCl. Hence, constituent elements are H and Cl. Molecular formula HCl indicates that it contains one hydrogen atom and one chlorine atom bonded together. Number 3 is methane. Molecular formula is CH4. This indicates that constituent elements of the methane are C and H, that is carbon and hydrogen. CH4 indicates that there is one carbon atom and 4 hydrogen atoms. Number 4, magnesium chloride. Its formula is MgCl2. Constituent elements are magnesium and chlorine. Total number of magnesium atom is 1 and chlorine atom is 2. We have seen the relationship between a molecular formula and the number of atoms of various elements in the molecule. The ability of joining to another atom with a chemical bond is a chemical property of each atom. A atom forms as many chemical bonds with other atom as its valency. Generally, valency of an element remains constant in its various compounds. Molecular formula of various compounds formed by hydrogen with other elements are given in the table. From that, deduce the valencies of the concerned elements. Let us start completing the table. First 2 is already done. Number 3 is H2S. Constituent elements are H and S, hydrogen and sulfur. Valency of hydrogen is 1. Number of bonds formed by the S with the H, sulfur with the hydrogen is 2. Because molecular formula is H2S and valency of X, that is of sulfur, is 2. Next is NH3, that is ammonia. Constituent elements are H and N, that is nitrogen. Number of bonds formed by nitrogen with hydrogen is 3 because molecular formula is NH3 and the valency of the nitrogen is 3. Next is HBr. Constituent elements are hydrogen and bromine. Number of bonds formed by bromine with the hydrogen are 1 and the valency of bromine is also 1, which is equal to number of bonds formed with the hydrogen. In this way, you can complete the remaining table. Valencies of the constituent elements can be deduced from the known molecular formula of a compound. On the other hand, the molecular formula of a compound can be written from the known valencies of the constituent elements by the method of cross multiplication. Let us see cross multiplication method for writing the molecular formula of simple compounds. Step 1. In that, you have to write the symbols of constituent element of that compound. Like here, symbols are written C and O. In the second step, you have to write the valencies below the respective element. So, valency of the carbon is 4 and the oxygen is 2. In the third step, cross multiply valencies and the symbols to obtain the number of atoms of the constituent elements in the molecular formula of the compound. So, multiply C by 2 and O by 4. In fourth step, write the formula of the compound obtained by cross multiplication. So, here after cross multiplication we got C2O4, but this is not final molecular formula because the number of constituent atoms in the final molecular formula should be the smallest possible whole numbers. For getting this, divide the formula obtained in the step 4 by a suitable number. Formula obtained by cross multiplication is C2O4. To obtain final molecular formula, divide C2O4 by 2. Hence, the molecular formula is CO2, that is carbon dioxide. Pairs of elements and their valencies are given in the following table. Use them logically to deduce the molecular formula of the compounds. Let us start completing the table. First two elements are carbon and hydrogen and valencies are 4 and 1. So let us cross multiply them. Cross multiplying, we will get CH4, that is methane. Second is nitrogen and hydrogen. Valencies are 3 and 1 respectively. Cross multiply them and cross multiplying N by 1 and H by 3 will get NH3, that is ammonia. Next is Fe, iron, and S, sulfur. After cross multiplying both by the 2, we get Fe2S2. So, divide it by the 2. After dividing it with the 2, we will get FeS, ferrous sulfite. Last is carbon and oxygen. So, cross multiply them. After cross multiplying the valencies, we will get C2O4. So, divide this whole with the suitable number, that is 2. We will get CO2, that is carbon dioxide.